Great Lakes Prepping here with another PVC pipe project. I'm a big fan of building stuff with PVC tubing, and there are endless possibilities for gadgets, tools, storage systems, and even furniture. Today I'm building a simple clothes hanging rack. I'm in need of a portable solution that can be packed up with my gear for the purpose of hanging coats and clothes on hangers. I want something that can be easily broken down and stored in a small bag and deployed relatively quickly. So let's jump right in and start building this portable PVC clothes hanging rack. The first thing I'm going to do is cut all the lengths of tubing that I need. For this project, I'm going with 3/4 inch pipe. So using my handy PVC cutting tool, I'll go ahead and measure and cut all the pieces I need according to the basic blueprint I drew up. Since this design calls for 8 2-foot lengths and 4 1-foot lengths, I needed exactly 2 10-foot PVC pipes for this project. That is, before I made some screw-ups and modifications, which we'll go over later. Now let's take a look at the connectors and fittings I'll need. First, I need 4 regular couplings. I'm using these because while my clothes rack will be taller and wider than 2 feet, I want it to all break down into pieces no longer than 2 feet for easy storage and transport. So these fittings will turn 2 shorter pipes into a longer pipe. Next, 2 basic 90-degree elbow fittings. Then, a couple of these 4-way fittings. 2 quick things to mention about these fittings. 1, I don't know why I showed 4 of them here. I only need 2 for this project, but they're sold in packages of 4, so I guess I just threw them all down on the table when shooting this video. And 2, these are sort of specialty fittings that are sold specifically for projects like this. They aren't really rated for plumbing, nor would you likely ever need a fitting like this for any actual plumbing project. You probably won't find these in your regular hardware store, but I'll put a link in the description below to where you can get them. And finally, I have 4 ordinary end caps. These fittings aren't super necessary, but they'll make the whole thing look a little more finished. Now I have all the pieces I need, and it's just a matter of putting everything together. Since I want to be able to disassemble this thing when not in use, I'm not gluing anything. I'll just use a rubber mallet to tap all the joints nice and snug. The main frame of this rack is comprised of 2 side pieces, a top piece, and a bottom piece. All 4 sides are made from 4-foot lengths, which again are each made from 2 2-foot pieces and a coupler fitting. At the top of my 4x4 foot square will be the 2 elbow pieces, and at the bottom will be those 4-way fittings. Then I'll add those short 1-foot pieces to the 4-way fittings to create the feet. And finally, I'll put the little end cap fittings onto each of the feet. And my clothes rack is ready to test out. So I'm going to load it up with my 5 heaviest coats and see how it holds up. There's never really going to be a circumstance where I'll need to hang this much weight on the rack, but I do want to give it a proper torture test. Right away, I can see that the top pipe is bending way too much for my liking. It's holding up, but I don't like how much stress it must be putting on those top corner joints. PVC pipe is flexible, and the longer your length of pipe, the more flexible it's going to be. So I had an idea for that top piece. Instead of 2 pipes joined by 1 fitting, I'd make it 4 pipes joined by 3 fittings. My thought was that since each length of pipe would be shorter, and since those fittings are quite rigid and non-flexible, this would greatly reduce that sag. The idea seemed sound in my head, but as you can see, this thing is sagging even worse than before. I think if all the fittings were firmly glued in place, this would have worked great. But while each length of pipe is now less flexible, I created more wiggle room at each unglued fitting, causing the collective top piece to be even more flexible than before. So as I was going back to the 2-piece, 1-fitting version, I had another idea that makes much more sense. I never quite needed this thing to be 4 feet long. I just liked the symmetry of it being 4 feet tall and 4 feet wide. But if I make the width of this thing shorter, that sag ought to be greatly reduced. So that's what I did. I trimmed 6 inches off of each top pipe and each bottom pipe. Now my hanging bar is 3 feet in length instead of 4, and I'm ready to give it the coat test once more. And I'm calling that a success. It still has a light sag to it, which is to be expected, but I don't at all feel like those joints are going to pop loose at any second like I did when the top rail was a foot longer. Now my portable, lightweight clothes hanging rack is completed and ready to pack up with my gear. All these pieces break down pretty quickly, and I'll store them in a simple drawstring bag for easy transport. By the way, here's my updated schematic with all the measurements in case you want to build this exact rack for yourself. And take a look at the video description for links to some of the stuff I used in this video. That's it for now. Be sure to like and subscribe and stay up to date on all our latest stuff, including future PVC pipe project videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Great Lakes Prepping.